We begin with a huge funding gap for Minnesota road and bridge improvement projects.
The Minnesota Department of Transportation estimates that nearly $15 billion will be available to the state over the next 20 years. However, that's about $50 billion short of the amount needed, according to a new report. Kare 11's Jeffrey DeMars has more on the findings.
A truck or a trailer is stalled on a Minnesota road. It's money that is lost. It costs money to burn the fuel. It costs money to pay the driver. It costs companies all over the state if a scheduled delivery is delayed, and that's just the start. A National Transportation Research Group, TRIP, ran all the numbers. TRIP's report finds that the average driver in the metro loses $1,500 a year due to poor road conditions, lost time, and fuel caused by traffic congestion.
Clearly, additional funding must be found to address these critical infrastructure crises.
The current federal transportation program to fund projects expires at the end of the month, which means more money is potentially on the horizon.
We think the timing of the report is quite critical, as Congress over the next several weeks will be making decisions that will have a significant impact on the level of federal funding that will be available to Minnesota over the next several years.
The Minnesota Department of Transportation figures the state can expect about $15 billion over the next 2 decades. TRIP figures that's about $50 billion short of what's needed to simply keep up with the current demand, to include a 494 expansion in Bloomington, additional freeway lanes on I-35, a freeway conversion on 252 in Brooklyn Park, and the completion of 610 to 94, not to mention a fix for nearly 1 out of 10 bridges in Minnesota, which TRIP found to be inadequate.
We need a long-term federal reauthorization act as an additional step for our nation and our state's economic recovery.
In more ways than one, get in line. Jeffrey DeMars, Kare 11 News.
And if the funding doesn't come at the national level, voters could very well see an increase in gas tax as an option to help pay for the road construction. Now, according to TRIP, if the state is unable to come up with the cash, many needed projects will not get done.